So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live here at the Full Speed Event Studios, down underground in my own little hobbit hole in what was the old beer cellars, where we are based here in Exeter, south side of Sheffield. And we're back for the second Donny Chaingang of the week. This is our women's only Wednesdays. The WOWDCG is back again every fortnight, and a great way to ride amongst people of a similar sized avatar, because of course we're on Zwift and we are currently going to be heading out into WOWDCG, which is our favourite world, up the Volcano climb, which is definitely one of my favourite climbs, mostly because it's stepped and actually has some downhill in it, which is always a bonus, particularly if you're the size I am. Now, busy week on the Donny Chaingang this week with 3 Chaingangs, the Open Chaingang Tuesday, Thursday, and our women's today. Today, our leader is Emma, and we are going to head across to Emma because I suspect Emma already down on the line, busy chatting away on the message board that we can see. So let's first of all see if we can get in touch with our yellow beacon, aka the boss. It is Emma. How are you doing?
Good evening, Matt. All's good here.
That's good to hear, and I'm hoping, if everything's working okay, that you've got the YouTube rolling so you're able to watch the programme and watch your main screen like lots of people do.
I have indeed. I have the live broadcast on YouTube on the Downing Cycling channel rolling at the moment. At the same time, on a different screen, I have our live event.
Excellent. And we've got quite a few of our pros starting to return, which is good to see. But the same format as all Donny Chaingangs as usual, and it's going to be a steady rollout tonight.
Yeah, we're going to have a steady rollout as normal, and you're quite right. As normal, we've got a mix and match of riders. We've got some first-timers. In fact, I've been messaging a rider who's joining us tonight, who it's their first group ride on Zwift completely. Right the way through to the other end of our riders who are racing regularly on Zwift and out in the real world as well.
Well, it does make a difference, doesn't it? But the whole point is it is a ride for everybody, and we hold together. So for anybody who's not watched it, we hold together, and the ride pace set by our yellow beacon, Emma, and our red beacon will be sweeping behind, making sure everybody stays in, up until the point where Emma gives the traditional on the Chaingang, go, go, go. And that signal's become pretty universal, hasn't it, for the signal that the limiter is off, and it's time for everybody to see how quick they can get to the finish.
Yeah, you're quite right, Matt. So tonight, as normal, we'll roll out around 2 watts a kilo, make sure everyone gets off the line nice and safely. You know, really inclusive ride, friendly and chatty, and hopefully everyone follows instructions, and we'll slowly wind up the pace tonight until, you're right, we issue the go, 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 and then it's free for all to the line.
And the line tonight is at the top of the Volcano. So the world of Zwift, it's totally fake in terms of it's not actually based on any real terrain, but it has allowed Zwift to actually tune it into the riding and to make it actually work for the rider. And that helps us, doesn't it, in terms of getting that workout, getting that ride for everybody. And if people do get dropped, of course, the aim is to just find a group, find another rider, because it is so much easier sitting in the draft of another rider, isn't it?
Oh, it is completely. And the wonderful Jo Jarvis is our red beacon tonight, so she'll be riding round at 2 to 2.5 watts a kilo for the whole ride. You know, once you can't stay with the pack, if you find yourself on your own, sit up and wait for the group behind, stay in with the group, find a group of your own pace. It's a ride for everybody, and there's all sorts of different levels on the ride tonight, so you'll find a group and complete the ride.
Sounds good. So we're going to let you get off and chat with the riders on the start line. We're going to run through the map. We'll catch up with you at some point out on the route. We'll try not to pick the final climb, though, because I know it's going to be a little bit interesting up there.
Yeah, it's yeah. We're on the after party tonight, so the Volcano climb will be the last 8 or 9 minutes of the event.
Well, we'll try and avoid that, honest Gov.
Thanks.
Cheers, Emma. Speak to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
So great to catch up with Emma, who is busy warming up. You could just hear the fan in the background, keeping our riders cool. Really essential bit of kit if you're on Swift. Not like today when I was out on the mountain bike with Indy, where it was blooming cold, I have to say. It might be something to do with being in a short sleeve top, but can't beat it as you're blatting along. Unfortunately, in Swift, they haven't yet designed one that comes out of the screen, so everybody with a fan just in front. Now, let's show you where we're going to head, and let's do that with the fantastic map provided by Zwift Hacks. And as you can see, this is really a course that the majority of it is a nice loop around the world of Watopia, the original world that was on Zwift, and that we actually go through what was the original Jarvis Island. So we make our way in and around the section. We come in round through the S's, and we actually head out to the volcano and go around the outside of the volcano, and we do that for 2 full laps. When we finish the 2 full laps, we then go on to the climb proper, and to do that, when we hit the volcano, we take a sharp right-hand turn and do a lap of the volcano in the opposite direction to get ourselves into the spiral that spirals right the way up to the very top. Now, that means that we hit the top of the volcano at 40.5 kilometres, which gives us 2.5k warm down, which should take most of our riders down to the bottom of the climb. So that means that you've got a nice downhill warm down. Perfect bit of this route. The elevation total is 266 metres, and half of the climbing comes in the last 3k here, which means that dependent on where that red beacon sits and where the yellow beacon sits, we could find the group staying together quite a long way, but we equally, with those little roller coasters on the way through, could find it splitting early. Now it's going to be up to the groups to pull it all together. In terms of profile, well, let's move off our Zwift Hacks map and across to the fellow viewer graphic that lots of people will have seen on the Donny Chaingang coverage already. This basically gives us a really good indication of just what it's like. We use the same scale for all of the broadcasts, all of the graphics that we use on the Chaingang, and that shows you just how fast it is. We start in the middle at the top, we drop down around, and we go around this basically in a clockwise direction. So we drop underneath the sea, that's the low point that you can see, climb out, go up through towards the Italian villas, then drop around across the volcano island. We do that big lap twice, then on the third time we come in, we take a sharp right and we go spiral our way up onto the top of the climb, and that makes a huge difference when we are heading in to the climbs, when we're heading into the finish, because that spiral will really change things about. Now, our riders heading out, and looks to me like they are all already just heading out and away from the start line on the pier today. So here on the Chaingang, you see a real mix of riders. Our yellow beacon, who we're sitting in with at the moment, just heading away. Let's pull some stats up so you've got a good idea of what we're going to be able to dial in from our riders here on the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel. If we pull those stats up, top corner, just up there, you can see that our ride leader just started rolling at about 88 watts, at 90 watts, 99, 106. Heart rate at the moment, 132 beats per minute, 85 revs per minute. That's all in the blue box. In the white box in the centre, we have our speed. That's 39.40 kilometres an hour, having covered already 0.3k, 0 metres of height gain, 48 seconds, 50 seconds of the ride done at the moment, and you can just see top right hand side of the screen the map. Now the map is really one of our most useful pieces of information on here at the moment. Zoomed right out so you can see where our riders are roughly heading. If we zoom in, we can get our 3D map view. This is a really nice indication of where we're heading, and this will track and follow the riders around as we take the left hand turn in towards the descent down into the tunnels. We can also zoom in a little bit more, so we can use our zoomed in, our zoomed out, and our 3D, and we'll leave it rolling on a 3D at the moment because you can see we're going to be heading down around that right hand curve. Top right hand side, you can see that little indicator there, currently at -2%, and the little grey line across the base, that is actually the profile of this section of the course. Down the right hand side of the map, you can see the full list of riders, and as we scroll through, let's pick on, say, Poppy Thompson at the moment. Poppy at the moment, 149 beats per minute, 69 revs. Just taking a quick check across there, and sitting just in front of our Red Beacon. Our Red Beacon is Joe Jarvis, one of our really experienced riders when it comes to Zwift, and Joe riding in that Aeonian race kit, the same as our leader. Remember, all of our riders riding in that pack at the moment, and looking pretty smooth at the moment. So the group nicely together and rolling along. And remember, it's a ramped workout, so these riders' numbers will increase as we make our way through. You see the instructions from our leader coming up on the screen. So let's dive in with the riders here on the Down in Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne, and catch up with them as they go down underneath the sea and down into the tunnels. So here on the Down in Cycling YouTube channel, our riders now rolling the way in. This a steady start, and the aim of this is to get everybody up and rolling. And our beacon here, Joe Jarvis, is going to have a bit of work to do tonight, I think, just because she's a rider who has been racing and knows that she's got to keep this group together. But Joe just starting to kick in towards the back of the pack. Now we've got a real mix of riders. Great to see we've got lots of new riders as well as experienced riders on the Chaingang. Good to have Donna back in with us. Donna, one of our very experienced riders and one of our real regulars on the Chaingang. Let's take a quick check. I think Donna out of this. I know, got to watch out for Donna, particularly when we go on to climb. A great rider, really aggressive, very fast. Once the go happens. We've also got in here Tracy Seeley. Tracy on the Chaingang, who's in here. She was on the Chaingang yesterday, putting a really good ride up Box Hill. It's really good to see, and got a new FTP, so congratulations on Tracy. I'm sure lots more to come from her. We've also got Jane Roberts in the group. Good to have Jane in the gang with us. Another of the riders who we know from seeing out and about regularly out on the mountain bike, and actually was in Jane Roberts' territory out on Sherwood Pines today. Let's take a little bit of a look who else we've got in the gang. Sarah Hawkins is in here. Alison Kinlock back with us, and Ruth Taylor, another of our regulars on the Chaingang. Could be 3 days in a row if the riders ride on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. You can just see at the moment that Ruth ticking along nicely here, 123. Got to say a massive thank you to everybody who posts up on Facebook all of their results when they get a new PB, whether it's a fastest time, whether it is because they've just currently got themselves a new FTP, new high FTP. All those posts really do make it worthwhile when we're planning the routes and when we're putting the Chaingang on. Now, just taking a little bit of a look at Laura Lawson here. Laura Lawson in another of the AEO squad, somebody who's been very, very busy on her race profile and on her race calendar, racing up and down the country and up in Scotland. I think I saw, and the putting in a ride at the National Cyclocross Championships up there. So good to see Laura riding strongly already on and off the bike. We're joined by the Finish Line Race team, known absolutely as the squad who are the Pro Noctis Heidi Kielts and Red Chili squad, and they are back with us. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a hunt through to catch them, and we've got Millie Skinner first. So Millie in the Downing Cycling Coast Riders kit there. So the Downing Cycling kit on Millie Skinner. Millie, one of the regular riders from the Peak District, now a little bit further afield, but it does mean she's one of our Finish Line riders. So the Pro Noctis squad with Millie Skinner in here, not the only rider by any stretch of the imagination. And we will be rattling our way in and around to catch up and try and get them caught up. In with Joanne Lee. So Joanne in here, Joe, one of our regulars on the Chaingang, and again another of our regular riders. Interesting choice of bike here with the aero wheels, but a relatively lightweight frame on there. Bike choice tonight quite tricky because bikes. If you feel that you can stay with the group, a light bike gives you the best chance on the hill. But the hill's only 3k long at the end, so having an aero bike to be able to put the hammer down when it goes quick, well, that is important on the way through. Now, let's have a little bit of a look. We've got Chloe Gagan in here. Chloe racing again yesterday. Looks like Lawson busy with the tunes already. Always interesting to see what people are choosing. I think Emma's got the same mindset here. Getting a little bit of a check out of what people are up to. You can see that we've got Maz with us. So Maz Heffron, one of our winners from the giveaway in the weeks previously. Maz winning the Halo weekend. Maz in the gang here, and Maz going for a deep rimmed bike there, just tucked into the bunch there with the blue, just taking a quick drink from the bottle. I'm loving Kaz Tarry's choice. AC/DC, always, definitely AC/DC for all tunes given a choice. Def Leppard, that's proper old school. So our riders haven't come out of the tunnel now, taking that right-hand turn. The group are looking good at the moment. We are going to keep a check on these riders as they come through, and just see the group just fracturing a little bit as they make their way up here and over the bridges. This World of Watopia, an absolutely stunning platform for Zwift, because it allowed Zwift to really experiment, to really build up a great feel for how it's going to ride, how riders react to the different surfaces. Remember, of course, that the surfaces do affect how the ride and the bikes perform, so a real set of testing being done by the riders. But the main pack here riding in over the boardwalk and looking good. You can see our two beacons at the back there, so you just see Emma and Joe. Emma with the yellow beacon on, Joe with that red beacon on, just ticking along nicely here, and everybody seems relatively comfortable with the pace at the moment. So the aim keeping the gang together. So let's have a look. We've got Emma Gilbert using the message board for the first time, so I hope it works. It certainly does. Lots of load with Def Leppard. Great choice. Definitely, we would be putting music in the background of the Chaingang if we had the choice, but the moment that we put anything that is rights protected on there, then things get a little bit tricky. We get in trouble. Zombie Nation from Lala Lawson's music choices, just having a little bit of a look. Rudimental album's pretty good, so good to see people already on there. There's lots and lots of tracks and playlists dedicated. I was on the Ultimate Zwift playlist, I think, last time I was in. It didn't work very well, though. I got distanced by a group that I should have really been able to stay with, but there you go. So the gang are working well at the moment. The group are working strongly together, and everybody in that packet. Seeing a real mix of bikes in here, seeing plenty of the lightweight wheels. You can just see the right-hand rider of the two Downey cycling riders there. That is a set of lightweights on there. Now, you only get those by riding up the outdoors. The top of the outdoors, there's a spinny wheel, which is the random wheel allocator, and that basically random allocator of prizes. Generally, you get gloves or you get something totally random like a cap. Occasionally, you will get a set of lightweight wheels. Now, the average is about 13 climbs of the outdoors to be able to catch hold of a set of lightweights. We do know riders who've been up there 20 plus times, in fact 26, 27 I think is the most I've heard of before anybody managed to get hold of a set of lightweight wheels on the way through. But at the moment, certainly looking like plenty of lightweight kit on there. You see a lot of the Tron bikes, the Zwift concept bikes in there as well. And those Zwift concept bikes, the best all-round bike for all terrains. If you're just going to pick one bike and stick with it, Zwift concept bike, the Tron, definitely a bike that everybody is aiming to go for, because it gives you that. And to gain the Tron bike, you've got to do 50,000 meters of ascent before you can get that, and make sure you've registered for your 50,000 meters climbing challenge as well, because no point doing all that height and then not having registered it in the first place, not like some people we know. Now, group working well together, the pack all together. And I think we're going to be seeing Justin pulling up to 2.5 at the moment. Just seeing another of our riders just dropping in there, because remember, we do have the late join in here. So people able to do a late join on the Chaingang. Just seen Emma Dooley just jumping back in by the look of it, and I think Emma just getting herself back up into the group. Interesting bike choice, I think, there by Emma. We're going to try and dive in with Emma at the moment. So yeah, definitely an interesting choice of wheels there to go on the Chaingang. We'll see if that's going to pay off a little bit later. Now let's take a little bit of a look a bit further down in through this pack here. So the group are working well. We've got our drone cam up in the air. As we make our way up, we're going to take this tight turn here, and this will take us around and back in towards the Italian villas. And you can just see Joe Jarvis on the back there patrolling while the ride-on's raining down here. Interesting, we've got a set of discs on here. I think that's on. Is that going to be Kaz? He's got the disc wheel set up. Best set up for a fast route of the flat disc wheels. On the back, deep rim on the front. Not so good when it goes pointy upwards. But it is a stepped climb. The last step is the steepest, the final ramp up to the top. And that can play havoc when people are choosing wheel types. That is for certain now. And the group holding together pretty well at the moment, just diving down. They're going to go down past the waterfall where it's all going to get really noisy, and down in towards the village. So the riders well on the way around. They're going to take the left-hand turn out to the volcano just before they get into the Italian villas proper. So Chaingang riders working well in towards the villas, then back out again, siding the way through the gravel, going that quick, they're cutting down into the surface. Fortunately, the game doesn't ask them to put enough power down to actually maintain that, and down into these hairpin turns that drop you down in towards the causeway, across towards the volcano. The volcano approached in two directions possible. One is the causeway that you can see just going out towards the volcano on the left-hand side. The alternative is to come in over on the big glass bridge that brings you back in and through. So our riders on the causeway coming in and through towards the volcano. The group looking good as they come across here, and nice to be able to pick a little bit of spend a little bit of time with some of the better shots of Zwift, using the screen without all of our data on it at the moment. So the group just steadily makes its way along here. Let's drop some in for you, just so that you've got a good indication of what the riders are actually doing on the screen. So at the moment we're just dealing with Maz, who's kicking out around about that 2.2 watts per kilo. John Lee in here kicking around 2.6-ish. Alison Killott, one of our fast riders in there. Poppy Thompson, one of our riders from the Pro Noctis squad. Poppy going for a nice aero frame, deep rims on there as well. Good to see that we've got Emma Gilbert back in with us, another of our regular riders on the women's Chaingang. Emma just in the long blue socks there, lightweight bike interestingly, so clearly fairly confident staying in the group, looking to maximise the ability to climb by going for that lightweight climbing bike. And it is all about picking your bike. Swift is so responsive to bike changes, to whatever you pick and choose. In terms of equipment, it makes a huge difference. So you can see another lightweight option here with Hawkins. Let's try and pick some more of our riders who maybe haven't been in with before. So in with Kaz at the moment. So Kaz just tucked in the group in the blue there. We're just trying to get a little bit of a view. So going for the full-on Aero S-Works and the disc on the rear and deep rims on the front. So that means going to be using a lot less watts to get stuff up into the group and stay with the group on the flat and on the downhill. That's going to give a big advantage. However, dragging more weight uphill, and it doesn't accelerate up as fast either. It is noticeable when you give it a kick and you try and spin it up to speed. It doesn't get up there quite as quickly, and that is the wonders of the game. It is very, very realistic indeed. Now, 5% at the moment. Everybody looks like they're working up here pretty smoothly. Just seeing our red beacon patrol in the back and having a pretty straightforward roll at the moment. Our red beacon's known as the red bus drivers. Because the Gruppetto at the back, the bus at the back, known as the red bus. If you've ever been onto the Facebook page for the Donny Chaingang, you'll see endless pictures of buses and red buses and variations on red buses. There's a good reason for that, because the red bus is the bus that holds everybody together. And everybody looking pretty comfy here at the moment. So the gang are moving along quite well. Just taking a little bit of a look through. Now we've got Mary White with us. Mary, a brand new rider to the Chaingang. We're going to take a view in here. So Mary's first group ride. Currently on the lightweight Swift bike there, and got the blue, light blue jersey on. So working well at the moment, sitting nicely around that yellow beacon, not expending too much energy, sat directly behind other riders. Nice smart riding, which is what we want to see as we make our way along this section at the moment. Everybody looking pretty comfy. Now at this pace, just seeing a few people dropping back to our red beacon, but I don't think anybody in too much trouble. I just see Jane Roberts just sitting at 1.9. I think Jane's just going to need to pick that up a little bit at the moment, just to keep on the wheels here. Don't want to let more than 6 meters go at any point, because if you do, and that is when you get in trouble, and that is when you are going to have to really work hard. So you can't afford to let the gaps go. You've got to sit in the bunch. The moment that those gaps go, that you end up in trouble. Now, just seeing Ruth Taylor dropping back, and I think Ruth just dropping back with 2.6, a little bit of a time lag on the old turbo there, so a little bit of a stop there for Ruth. Ruth, pretty strong rider, should be able to get back in again. I think we've just seen Joe just up here and having a little bit of a look. So we've got Jane Roberts currently sitting at 171. Joe Jarvis, I think, probably going to be dropping back here to pick up Jane, because this is going to take a little bit of a group effort to bring riders back in. I think particularly as we've got Taylor just off the back. Taylor's going to help because she's going to come through pretty quickly at 6 watts per kilo, nearly at 5 watts per kilo. So Joe just dropping back. Let's see if we get many more of those riders on the front to drop back. Maybe we'll see an instruction from that yellow beacon just asking them to drop back and give a hand at the back. And that's the great thing about the Chaingang. So this is where we see the red beacon at work. Just working back, just going to pick up the riders as they get distance. You can drop your phone, you can drop your water bottle, you can get caught out very easily indeed. You could be texting or messaging. That's a pretty common thing to happen as our riders sort of make their way through, and it is all about making sure that that gang gets itself around this circuit as fast as is possible, but without leaving anybody behind, and that is the tricky bit. So you just see our red beacon here. This is what the red beacon does. Goes back, sweeps, picks riders up, helps them along, gets them within 6 meters. So it's about 3 bike lengths the gap when you start getting aero assistance and just seeing them disappearing, just because we've got a big, long camera shot at the moment as we go in and through. Remember, these riders working well at the moment. So here we go, together now as a duo. So currently watching our red beacon at work, watching them go around the fold on the map. Now in Swift we do have folds in the map, a little bit like when you got your old school OS map out. When you get over a fold, a crease in the map, it's very easy to jump between riders, and that's what we're seeing. So Ruth Taylor back into the gang, Julie Bratton at the back of the gang. Good to have Julie back in with us. You can just see our riders across the road working well. Just taking a little bit of a look behind. Looks like one or two riders just off the back of the main group. I think Mary White. So it is Mary who just needs to push on here. If she gets distanced at 5.4 watts per kilo, she's going to be in trouble because that group is working very, very quickly at the moment. I think a yellow beacon potentially going to be dropping by. Looks like Julie at the back there. But Mary White pushing on at 4 watts per kilo. She's starting close. So I think just having to work hard. But how long can she maintain that pace to come back on again? Well, she's got herself back in. So riding in the draft is absolutely critical to make sure you get it absolutely nailed. Just dropping in with Donna Short at the moment. So back in and the group back together again. And you can just see everybody together because the pace is much, much quicker in that pack. The draft effect can make a huge difference to our riders. Now, with most of the group together, our red beacon having started the bus at the back, we're going to try and catch hold of mid-ride our yellow beacon. We are first of all going to see if we can physically find them on the screen as well. Always handy to manage to find them first before we actually try and get in touch with them by the wonders of telephony. So let's see if we're going to be able to get hold of our yellow beacon. Emma, are you there?
I am, though I find it very funny that you always try and come to me when I'm typing.
It's got a camera in the pain cave, that's what it is. If only. That would be very dangerous. We'd be able to broadcast just how hard you're working instead of having the picture of you racing.
Yeah, I'm not concentrating that hard at the moment here.
There's some definite concentration. I think if we had laser beams coming out your eyeballs, it wouldn't have been a surprise on that picture of you racing there. I think that was a cross race though.
It's indeed a cross race, and I would imagine that's the right-hand corner coming up for anybody who knows me.
Go on the Facebook page, and explanations will no doubt be forthcoming a little bit later in time. So our yellow beacon, Emma group working well together and quick tonight. I think pretty much everybody at 2 watts a kilo, but Joe and Jane Roberts, I think the red beacon with a nice little group working well at the back there, but this group at the front, there's some big hitters in here.
There are, and I think, as you say, it's a nice group, it's a great blob, and the draft works really well on this course. So as a group, we are moving quite quickly. It's going to be interesting to see what happens later on with some of the riders in this group.
There's a lot of people who've been racing through the summer and have had a little bit of time off, so maybe not quite on race pace. We've got some people who've been racing really hard, including last night.
Yep.
And we've got a lot of the Aeonian team who've got a great result because I know the Aeonian team finishing the year with riders throughout the race fields in really good positions.
Yeah, like you say, there's a real mixed bag of riders in here. Some who are coming off of a rest and coming back to riding. Others who have been racing really hard for the last 8 weeks on Zwift as well as in real life. So form's going to be a little bit different. But there's a few AEO colleagues in here tonight, but all of them raced last night, so I'm not sure what we're going to do.
Have very sore legs would be my suggestion. If you haven't got sore legs, you weren't trying hard enough.
Oh, I think we can guarantee everyone tried hard enough last night.
And the race last night, what race were you racing for people who don't know?
So we were in the ZRL community event last night. Aeonian have a race team in each category, so 60 female riders on the squad. And it was the final round of the 8-week league. So there was all to play for. And we were at Mercury Islands on the countryside loop, and anyone who's gone up that climb 3 times, their legs will know about it the next day.
Definitely. No, we have used that on the Donny Chaingang, and it absolutely blistered people to pieces because it is a big, horrible climb, and it's gravel as well. So bike choice really critical at the moment. The WOWDCG, well, I'm saying at the moment, it's all tarmac so far.
It is indeed. I think we might have to have a mountain bike ride or something on Women's Wednesday. We'll have to think about that for the new year.
We'll see. Well, the route's already in, and of course, members of the DCG gang and those people who signed up for all the links through the year, getting all those links and the details of where we're heading right the way in up to the end of December. I am loving the fact that you've just managed to type, let's move to 3 watts per kilo whilst talking. I think at 3 watts per kilo, I don't think I'd be doing much talking, I must admit.
Yeah, so I'm going to say thank you very much and speak to you later, Matthew.
If only you had the button to mute everything and change the screens. We'll catch up with you soon. Good luck.
Thanks.
So our beacon there, Emma, riding well. This group is just nicely working together. Now, let's take a little bit of a run back. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about the Chaingang is that we have our volunteer beacons. All our beacons volunteer for this role. We get strong riders, we get new riders, we get old riders. We try and pick people who have got some experience of not just the Chaingang, but a lot of riding as well on Swift, because this role is critical. It's the role that is there to inspire, to bring people to work with new riders, riders who are new to the Chaingang. We've got Jane Roberts on here, one of an experienced rider, but a relatively new rider on Swift at the moment. We've got to remember there's lots of people coming back from COVID. We've got people who are coming back from really hard races, and lots of people choose to go on the Chaingang, on the open Chaingang, on the WOWDCG for a steady ride with that red beacon. The talk often does end up being on cakes, bikes, soundtracks, and gin, oddly enough. But it's whatever people want to make it, and at the moment it looks like Joe ticking along nicely here, just keeping that deficit down, and looks like Joe and Jane are working well together, which is great to see as they go up on to the climb. Out the other side of the climb, you can just see Laura Lawson on the back here, one of those AO riders at the back here, and got Mary White, got Steph Raw back in here. You can see Steph in the gang yet again, and Steph, interesting choice of bike, going aero but with very lightweight wheels on there as well. And that's going to be an interesting selection by Steph there. Currently 155 beats a minute, 100 revs per minute. Nice cadence. Seeing a lot of smooth cadence as we've moved through the season at the moment. You got to remember, it's all about keeping it smooth. Just in with Julie Brand. And we've got Claire Crabtree in with us as well. I'm going to try and grab a hold of Claire's avatar. Oh, even better, Catherine Adams in here. So good to have Catherine back in with us. Catherine in her Lamprey inspired kit there on those deep rims. Just the other side of Sonia Inslee. Sonia in the black there. But this group are working well together. Got one rider who clearly determined to keep the pack rolling. Emma Dooley at the moment working hard on her own at the front, going to be expending a lot of energy needlessly at the moment. Always pays to sit in the bunch, save your energy, watch what the pros do. It makes a huge difference. So the group are running well together at the moment, sitting with that yellow beacon. Just seeing diligence, she's holding the numbers 2.9 to 3, so sitting inside that envelope that the yellow beacon has asked for, which is really interesting to see that everybody content to sit back and you watch all the pros that just sat there, they're just waiting. They know and they can leave it a little bit at the moment and just let people burn up some energy before they put in a big attack when that trigger point is reached. Let's take a run back. Let's jump in with Jane along with our red beacon. This is Joe just making the way. You can see in the background the mountains, the epic KOM behind our riders as they come around this turn. You can see the yellow beacon in front, up on the big bridge in the distance, but our red beacon and Jane and Joe are together now as they come up onto the bridge here, and this takes them up in towards the climb up towards the Italian villas. So nice cadence coming across here from Jane Roberts, keeping those revs nice and high, which is what you want to see. You need to keep those legs ticking over at a nice pace, and that just allows you to keep it all together as we jump across. So just watching Jane, 90 revs per minute, that's a nice pace to keep the revs nice and high, 151 beats per minute, and just taking a little bit of a hunt round. So Julie Brandon about 123 beats per minute. Maz without the heart rate monitor on. Interested to know where that is. It's just seeing Maz at the moment, 66 revs per minute. That's a pretty steady revs, 143 watts, 150 watts at the moment coming out. Maz at about 3 watts per kilo or so. You can just see these riders as they come up onto the climb. This set of hairpin turns and straights, great way to gain height as they come up in towards the Italian villas. The long drag out from the bridges and then coming in through the left and right hand turns. So just watching this group come up here, the pace just lifting a little bit and just keeping an eye, just seeing Emma Gilbert and Maz Heffer just rolling at the back here, just sitting just under that 3 marker. 18k done, 18.4k done at the moment. So just jumping in with Claire Crabtree now. Claire, one regular rider on Zwift, already got the concept bike, the Zwift concept bike, the Tron bike. They got a pocket full of ride-ons as well, which is great to see. And Claire tucked nicely in this group, just going alongside Poppy Thompson from that Pro Noctis squad. Just got Tracy Seeley in there. Tracy, of course, very experienced Donny Chaingang rider. Great to see so many improvements. Keep those pictures coming. Don't forget to tag us in. If in doubt, tag in the people who keep the gang going. Fantastic supporters. Halo Wheels. Just admit mine worked very, very well today, despite my rusty skills. The airtime I did get was without a problem on the landing, and that's due in no small part to the wheels from Halo. So our riders in and past the fountain now onto this big sweeping descent. The group's still holding together well as they make their way down here, seeing most people just sitting just under that 3 watts per kilo marker as you come into the descent, this gravel descent that drops you down. Now if you're riding this in a race, it always pays to have a nice steamroller at this point to iron this out a little bit. Great way to get clear on the climb. If you don't get one, it is really bad news though if people around you have, because you're working so much harder on the climb. On the descent, no, you don't pick up the speed quite as much as you would do on a tarmac descent at the same gradient, but this group are working well today. That pace staying nice and high on the way through. You can just see, just watching Claire here go through 34, 35 kph, and that speed, even though it's still flat, is going to stay at that speed, if not go up as they come onto the top. You can see the speed picking up, and that is purely about the pace of the tarmac versus the pace on the gravel. So this group's riding very comfortably together indeed. I wonder how long it will be. Oh, here we go. So we've just seen a 3.5 watts per kilo being confident. And this is where we'll start to see who's feeling good today, who's not feeling so good, who's got the pace in the group. Just riding in with Chloe Gagan at the moment, somebody who was racing yesterday Chloe in that Aeonian race team strip, just kicking comfortably in. Now, this is where we're going to see riders start to struggle. Don't panic. Stay in the wheels. Hide at the back as long as you can. Hold that wheel as long as you can. When you can't hold the wheel anymore, don't worry. We've got a group coming behind our red beacon working well with Jane Roberts. So Joe and Jane together, the pair working nicely together as we go in through the arches here that go alongside. Now, this lap we go straight on. Next lap we will be turning right, and we'll be going up that road just to the right of the riders and into the volcano. This time round though, straight on and on to the riser. So the offer of a few more watts per kilo coming from our yellow beacon. Not so sure that everybody's able to stay with the pace at the moment. Just going to take a little bit of a look. Looks like Sonia just having a bit of a drop out here now. I'm going to kick on at 6.5 watts per kilo. Come on, Sonia. Time to get on the back of that pack. Don't let them go. They're going to compress as they go into the gang. So Sonia Inslee clearly with a drop out there now, having to kick out 5 watts per kilo. And this is burning energy. You can just see the little black dot behind there in that Kiwi almost inspired outfit. Sonia Inslee now chasing hard to get back in. She's only got 4 seconds. She should come up to the back of the group just as they come onto the climb. And that is going to be mean that she's got a chance of just sitting in with them as they go up and over. Sonia having to work hard here. Now, what's that gap in front? Here she comes. Sonia Inslee really pushing hard. We know she's a strong rider. She's got a phenomenal sprint. And now up on to the climb here. You can see our camera just trying to track in here with Sonia. She comes up into the group. So Sonia Inslee nicely into the group here. And likely to come rocketing past. You just see just easing off the pedals there because she carries so much pace into that pack. So great recovery there by Sonia after that dropout. Sonia, I'm going to come round to yours and Darren's house and I am going to sort your tech. I promise you. It's going to happen this winter. I'm going to come around. It's going to cost you 1 coffee, but I guarantee I can sort your tech issues out. It's definitely a regular problem with Sonia. If she didn't have dropouts, she'd be winning everything, I think, in sight. Actually, everybody else, you can pay me in coffees not to fix Sonia's deck. That might actually be a good move, to be honest. So the group coming through alongside the volcano at the moment and just coming around. They're going to be heading in towards the bridges and coming back in and across the bridge. Just seeing now a few of our riders. Looks like Emma Dooley and Mary White at the moment just off the back. Take our drone cam in underneath the tarmac here. Now they need to just pick this pace up, get onto the back of the group here. Let's drop some... let's drop some numbers in here. So Dooley at the moment just being distance, needs to pick that pace up, needs to close the gap, work together, and these two riders could get back in here. Remember, they're holding it 3-5 in front. The two riders need to work and just lift the pace up, but you can see the effect of the draft at the moment. So White and Dooley at the moment are pushing, but they are really starting to fight, and you think we're going to see these two forming our next pair on the road. We've got our red beacon, Joe Jarvis with Jane Roberts. So then it's going to be Mary White and Emma Dooley in the next group. Then you can just see Millie Skinner, the Pro Noctis Huddy Kiasa squad, who have just re-signed basically their entire team for another year. A sign of continued development by Rick Lister and all of the Pro Noctis squad. And got to say that doing an absolutely awesome job stitching that together is Rick Lister. It's not somebody who I always compliment. In fact, I regularly rip the mickey out of him, but I have to say, doing an absolutely amazing job and a real example of what you can do when you have a really happy team, because they have had a fantastic season on the road, and it was a pleasure to watch them in action. Of course, crowning that season off with a win at the National Crit Championships for home rider Joe Tinley. Joe, of course, another regular that we see on the WOWDCG. So the gang all working well together, and lots of those Pro Noctis riders in here. Not too many people responding to who has got fresh legs here. And you can see there's some cagey riding today. Nobody's putting it all out there at the moment. So Laura Lawson with laughing negative from Chloe. Some people didn't race yesterday. Let's see who's feeling like they've got some quick legs. Remember, the pace has picked up now. Mary White needs to jump onto the back of Dooley. Time for these two to start communicating together, start talking to each other and making sure you're working well together. Jarvis and Roberts working well as the group behind. Dooley and White need to hold them off their experienced riders. Jarvis out there, but Dooley and White just do the same thing, so holding in for a while. Let's take a little look. So Sonia Inslee definitely feeling the effects of that sprint to get back on again, and that will have dulled down those legs a little bit. You just see Sonia just sat at the back of that group as we continue onwards, just riding in with Alison Kinlock, who just pushes up on to the front at the moment, then rolls back off again, and you can just see as we're on this descent, everybody just rolling. Now, Mary White putting up the message she's dead. Well, thing to do now, roll with your new teammate you've just discovered, and that is going to be Emma Dooley. So Emma meets Mary, Mary meets Emma. This is your new team for the duration of the rest of the ride. It's not all that far, I promise. And just as importantly, if you work together, you're going to set yourself some seriously quick times as well. Now, let's jump down in with our beacon. Just keeping an eye, just trying to jump up to our yellow beacon actually at the moment, which is easier said than done because the group is yo-yoing about very, very quickly indeed. So underneath the lap board we go, so in and through. So 2 laps coming up now. We're on to lap number 3 now. This time, instead of continuing back round the Volcano, we'll be taking that right-hand turn. We get back to it. We're going to drop down into the tunnels, through the tunnels, up the ramp at the end of the tunnels, into the villas, out of the villas, then up on to the climb. And looks like Sonia's legs have let go here. It's after that sprint back in again. I think Sonia going to be heading back. No, it's another dropout. Well, Laura Lawson just making sure she couldn't hear the cries of Sonia Inslee. As the air was blue before, it will definitely be blue now. So Sonia having to do another sprint to get back on again. Darren, Sonia, I keep telling you, it's one coffee. You just need to give me a coffee on a Friday. No, a Wednesday. Well, maybe next Wednesday when I've gone to go ride up Pines. I'll call in on the way back round again. Just we'll just sort out that dropouts. Dropouts caused by all manner of things, usually to do with Wi-Fi speeds and internet speeds and connection interference. Dark art, practiced by everybody on the Chaingang, is about keeping that signal stable and not letting that interfere with your ride. Now, Millie Skinner sat comfortably in this group at the moment and quite quiet on the ride at the moment. Donna Short in here, another rider who's been right up in the mix, and Claire Crabtree riding well here. Really a rider who is often found behind the camera lens at races and regular race official volunteer. Good to see Claire in the gang here. Sarah Hawkins in here, Jolie still got them in the group, Tracy Seeley in here, Emma Gilbert, Sarah Rourke, Ruth Taylor in here, Maz Heffron in the group, Julie Bratton in, Catherine Adams in here, Kaz Tarry's in the group. It really is a good group here as they start coming down into this descent here. And you can see those numbers just still rolling at around that 3.5 watts per kilo mark. So Sonia Inslee's legs are well and truly now. Claire just saying that her legs are done in. I think everybody's legs feeling it. So remember, if your legs start to let go, find yourself a partner, find somebody to jump in with, and make sure that you get some company as you go through. So it looks like Joanne Lee just dropping the group there. She's got to kick harder. She wants to get in with Sonia Inslee, who's on another rocket back towards the bunch at the moment. And then we've got Mary White and Emma Dooley, and Mary putting in that aero power up on the way down. They've not lost very much time. They've been holding that group quite nicely. I think they're likely to see the group in front fracture and come back towards them. Joe Jarvis and Jane Roberts riding well together as well. Back in with the main pack at the moment. So we have been steadily shedding people, and the GoGoGo has gone. The GoGoGo goes. This is it. This is when things get all about who's got the pace, who's got the power to take this out. Has anybody got any legs left? We've been seeing riders say that the legs have gone. Well, this is when we find out just how gone they are. Who's got anything left? Who can give anything? Just keeping a little bit of a check. It looks to me like Crabtree just at the back here. Inslee's off the back by a couple of seconds. And I think Claire's legs have let go here. She's just losing touch with the bunch in front. And that's dangerous at this stage. You can see the gaps are opening up. The riders just in front of her. Casa Tarry here and Steph Rook need to push. They can't afford to let that gap go. If we get up in the air up above them, you can just see Steph pushing hard here. Kaz jumping on a wheel. They can't let a gap go. If you let that gap go, you are in trouble. And Rourke really putting in a big effort here to come across the gap. You can see Tarry just starting to be distanced, but great recovery there by Rourke. Getting back onto the wheels here. Nicely done. So that is Steph Rourke back in the group. Is Kaz going to make this in? I think Kaz Tarry is also going to make contact if she can keep the pressure on. Come on, Kaz Tarry, to dig in deep here. Don't let it just hover at 10 metres. You've got to get within 6 metres, 3 bike lengths. That's the critical distance, but we are about to head up on to the ramp. Our riders will see it in front of them here now. Up we go. You can see the numbers right-hand side of the screen starting to kick. Are we going to see a kick here? Are we going to see an attack at the front? Is everybody just going to ride up and hope it all stays together here? Kinlock has gone on to the front. Is Kinlock going to rip this up? It looks like the riders who were just off the back, just sat in the back of this pack at the moment, hoping it doesn't go too hard. Steph Rourke has Tarry in there, just watching them. They've got to squeeze over the top here. As Kinlock goes on the front here. Seeley right behind the pace has gone up, though. We're over the 4 watts per kilo. Kinlock now at 5 watts per kilo. She's on a lightweight bike here as well. Got the aero wheels in, but this is the leading group, and you can see that pack just starting to close in on Kinlock. They're just on a back wheel behind here, and looks like we're going to get more groups just forming behind the lead group. Remember, you need to find somebody. Lots of Swift rides go off like a rocket from the gun. No warm-up, boom, and all of a sudden your legs are falling off. You don't get the quality workout you get on the Donny Chaingang, which is where we're warming it up from the start. Our ride leaders, got to say a massive thank you to our ride leaders, doing an amazing job. Whether that is Emma the Boss, Jimmy Allen the Wolf, or of course Russ Downing, the one and only Bear. The team are working hard to keep everybody together to give that quality workout. And this following the Donny Chaingang, of course, often copied, but nobody can get it quite the same. The Chaingang, legendary in cycling circles for a reason. And got to say a massive thank you to everybody who's been nominated and similar for the Cycling Weekly Awards. Hopefully award winning, we'll see. Award nominee at the moment. We'll see if we can actually take away a prize. You never know. So the gang all together here, just watching this group. So those initial flurries just not getting rid of too many people as this just starts to ease. Looks like our 2 riders who are in trouble, Rourke and Tarry, and they've got Lee not that far behind. If these 3 get together, they could keep up. We've got Sonia Inslee at 25 seconds behind, and White and Dooley not all that far behind. So are we going to see Kaz along with Rourke and Lee getting together? Those 3 would make a fairly formidable force to be reckoned with, because they've got a fair bit of pace, and any hesitation in that front group and they would be on them. At the moment, though, it's currently just split with Tarry and Lee currently distanced. Rourke just on the front here. Lee trying to close down the gap. Come on, Joe, get on these wheels. Strength in numbers. Find a friend, get a ride. jump in, work together as a team. This is where you've got to make friends on the way through. And Jolie going on to that group. Nice catch being made now. As she makes that catch, this group are going to need to go with her. You can just see Kaz and Steph down. You see Lee. Lee's not going to catch the group in front. I don't think it's 17 seconds, but if they start working together, these three riders who are just on that bridge are going to be able to take the pace up and really work well together. But they've got to keep it smooth on the way through. Meanwhile, back of the group now, you can just see it starting to take its toll. Riders in ones and twos behind our leaders as they go up this climb. Well, looks like the pace really starting to pick up on the front here, really working well. Now two groups, two very distinct groups being formed here. That split currently sits at Fairview, so it's just going to take a little bit of a look at the gap in between. Apologies, just slight tech issues in the studio for four-legged issues and 240 volts. Never a good combination. Fortunately, everybody all right, but just watching Donna Short in here, Emma Gilbert, looks like Chloe Gagan in this group, and Sarah Hawkins in here, and the gang are together working well here. So Sarah Louise Hawkins in with Emma Gilbert, Joe Lee and Steph Rock now behind Cass Terry. Just been distanced a little. Sonia Inslee not all that far behind them. Up at the front though, the pacer is pretty hot in that group as they make their way in and round. You just see Lawson on the front just easing off a touch as this group comes back together. So in through the fountains to go down onto this descent. The group are riding well at the moment. Tracy Seeley on the front, the regular Donny Chaingang rider, the DCG behind the name there. And just diving down, Poppy Thompson now moving up onto the front. Now is this where we're going to start to see our pro riders are starting to make their mark. Remember, we cut down, we come across the causeway you can see in the distance to the volcano. Then we go taking the sharp right into the volcano. We do a full circuit just about the volcano before going up onto the big flanks at the side, the steps on the way up steep and on the way through. It's going to be very interesting. I think at the moment this pack just watching each other. We're waiting to see the big guns start to fire our yellow beacon, just keeping an eye on everybody at the moment. Maz Heffron tucked in here, and Maz just keeping those revs nice and smooth. Alison Kinlock in here, Ruth Taylor, Julie Brown. That looks like the group behind now at 20 seconds. So Catherine Adams in that leading group. This is the group with Hawkins, Gagan, along with Gilbert, and behind it's going to be Lee with Rourke. Then a gap back to Cass Tarry. Then it's going to be Sonia Inslee, and it'll be Dooley and White, followed by Jarvis. So probably potentially our last look in through before we get on to the big climb, because this is where things are going to get very, very hot indeed, and not just because we're going inside the volcano, but time starting to run out for these riders to break clear. They know they're going to be on that climb, and this is where it favours the riders who can recover in between each of those efforts. Big, powerful steps, and then a recovery in between, even a section of downhill on the way through. Just seeing Tracy pushing again. Now Tracy Seeley, a very quick rider, starting to wind it up. She's starting to give it a little bit of a kick as she comes up on to this little ramp. This is the ramp that takes them up into the volcano proper, and you can see the riders going out of the saddle here. Who's going to be able to put out the big numbers? Is somebody going to go clear on this section? Just watching, Yellow Beacon's gone for it. Now the Yellow Beacon is starting to wind this up. The riders behind are in there, but looks like that Yellow Beacon has started to rip this apart. Is this going to be another aggressive ride from the Yellow Beacons? We've seen the wolf, we've seen the bear, and now the boss trying to break things up, not making it easy for anybody. And everyone now under the cosh. They've got to push here. Taylor just at the back here. She's got to squeeze onto the back wheel of Mass Heffron. Poppy Thompson in this group. Thompson using the power up here, using that aero to try and get in. Heffron currently at about 5 meters. Ruth Taylor behind. Taylor, a strong rider on the cross. Now she's got to be able to do the business on the Zwift as this group starts to split into 2 distinct groups here. After that initial pressure from the Yellow Beacon that's now putting in a power up coming up. Remember, they're going to go underneath this banner. This is the Volcano lap banner that they're about to go underneath here in the center of the volcano here in Zwift. Our leading group altogether. Kenlock in here. It's Skinner in second wheel. Lawson in third wheels. Tracy Seeley in here. Poppy Thompson coming back through. Catherine Adams jumps onto the back of that group. Nicely tucked in there. So Catherine riding really well here today on the women's only on Wednesday. Donny Chaingang here live on the Down in Cycling YouTube channel. And you can just see this group of riders are now just starting to wind it up. 7 riders at the front of affairs. Just keeping the gap opened up to the riders behind it. 6 seconds back to this trio of riders. Mass Heffron on the right hand side, Ruth Taylor in the middle, and then it's going to be Julie Bratton in that dark blue on the left hand side. Julie just putting in that aero power. It's only 5 seconds to the group in front. They can see them just in front. You can see that beacon. It's just like a light to guide you right up to them, but the gaps are really starting to open up. And now at 6 seconds, 45 seconds back to Short, Gilbert and Hawkins and Gagan. So 3s and 4s, 1s and 2s, all behind. Riders all dotted out as they come in and through. Keep an eye on this group. I tell you who's riding really well. You can see that confidence coming from getting that new FTP. Tracy Seeley in here. Regular Donny Chaingang rider, regular rider on the WOWDCG. Looking very smooth at the moment. 92 revs per minute. Heart rate up at 183, 184 beats per minute. That's like some people's absolute or maximum heart rate. Let's take a little bit of a look at one of our professional riders, Poppy at 187 as well, right up there. Millie Skinner sitting at what's Millie at 193. You can just see how high they are. Let's pick on Emma. Emma, the diesel there, sat at 159. Now, really interesting when looking at the different physiologies of these riders. Alison Kinlock just sitting around 169, 170. Look at Lawson, 156 from Lawson here. Real mixed group, and those heart rates not indicative of how much work people are doing, because of course they all have different maximums. Just all watching Lawson on the back of this group, keeping an eye on those riders in front here. Lawson, the AO squad. So we have 2 riders from the squad from that Pro Noctis Heidi Kjartan squad in the shape of Poppy Thompson and Millie Skinner. We have got Alison Kinlock in and riding in the plum colour, just sitting second wheel. You've got right at the front, you've got the rider that is going to be Tracy Seeley, and then you've got in here Catherine Adams as well, and the 2 Aeonian riders in the shape of Lawson on the left here, and our yellow beacon, that is Emma, on the right hand side. Interesting to note that Emma going for a lightweight deep rimmed bike, Lawson staying on that Tron bike. Now this is where we would normally be heading down and into the descent, but now we're going to take the left hand turn and go up onto the climb proper. You'll see the Volcano KOM pop up on the left hand side very shortly, and that means our riders are on the climb proper. It starts when they hit the beacon on the right hand side, and all of a sudden you just see popping up on the map the screen opening up as these riders make their way up onto the climb. Now 17 seconds between our leaders and group number 2 on the road, so 17 seconds between group 1 and group 2 on the road. Just easy enough as they came over the top of that little bit of a climb here as they come in, and you can just see these gradients now step. It ramps up and it eases off, ramps up, eases off, and this step is going to really make some of these riders struggle. Those riders who like to sit at a steady pace now have to watch what's going on. Kinloch though first to open up the throttle here. So Kinloch it is, the PH Mass squad, who is starting to stretch your legs out behind. That gap has opened. You can just see the riders just behind here. At the moment that gap has gone, and at the moment nobody is closing that gap down. Now out at 2 seconds. Let's jump across to the back of this group. Let's see who's doing more at the back of the pack here. This is the group. They've got to answer this by Kinloch. They can't let her go too far up the road. She's currently got 3 seconds on the front of the bunch, and 4 on the riders who are rolling at the back here. You can just see Emma, the beacon on the right hand side in the grey. That's Poppy Thompson. You've got Catherine Adams in the lamprey pink and blue. There are 3 riders we are right on the middle of at the moment. Then in front, 2 seconds up the road, it's these 3 riders. You've got Tracy Seeley, the rider at the back of these 3. Then you've got Millie Skinner up at the front with Lala Lawson on the centre there. So Tracy Seeley, Lala Lawson and Millie Skinner, and it's Skinner who's now pushing the big numbers here. Skinner trying to close down the pro Noctis Heidi Kiatson rider, just trying to make a way up to the group. Our drone currently getting stuck in the middle of the rocks, just managed to fly out and closing in on the back wheel of Kinloch now. Is Kinloch going to wind this up to get with them? You just see the numbers are dropping off. That step complete. 4 seconds the gap back to Lawson as these 2 riders go over the top of the gradient, so it goes to -2, and then it's another kick into the next step here. Kinloch again on the power. Skinner sits on the wheels here. Our riders are making their way around the Volcano here, and you can just see these are our 2 leaders on the WOWDCG, the Women's Only Wednesday on the Donny Chaingang. At the moment, Kinloch at the front for the PH Mass squad. Millie Skinner for the Pro Noctis Heidi Kiatson squad sits in second wheel. Then it is going to be Laura Lawson sits in 3rd place. Tracy Seeley currently in 4th. Adams and Emma, so Catherine Adams and Emma Payne in 5th and 6th. Poppy Thompson currently in 7th position. 8th is going to be Taylor. 9th Bratton. 10th place at the moment, Mars Hevron still sitting inside the top 10. Hawkins at 11, Short at 12, Gagan at 13, Gilbert at 14, Leah at 15, Rourke at 16 at the moment. So these are riders currently just rolling around that top at 10, with Maz at 10th place. Right at the front though, you can see Kinloch along with Skinner have 6 seconds down on Lawson. Lawson is behind, just trying to close down. You can just see between the 2 riders just that glinting of the Tron Concept 1 bike as we go up on to the next kick up through the tunnels here. And you can just see Skinner closes that gap back down again. There is nothing to choose between them as they come through this low tunnel here in the Volcano in Zwift. And Lawson at 5 seconds at the moment on our 2 leaders. Out onto the side here, so just seeing Kinloch, Skinner up at the front, Lawson chasing hard behind. Lawson can see them just dangling in front. It's just so hard to close those last few meters down with, particularly as it yo-yos up and down in terms of gradient. Then Tracy Seeley still keeping smooth nice power here coming out as well. Catherine Adams is going to be the rider behind, and Adams can see Seeley in front. Then it's going to be Emma sat on the wheel of Adams, then Thompson, Taylor and Bratton with Heffron at the moment running out the top 10. She's got Bratton only 8 seconds in front, and Bratton has Taylor and Thompson really close in front. If we take a look back from Poppy Thompson, you can just see Ruth Taylor really starting to wind her in here at 3.8 watts per kilo. So is Bratton behind as well. She's at nearly 4 watts per kilo. Up at the front though, Kinloch still making the pace on this climb. Now Skinner comes back up onto a wheel. Now Skinner on those sort of lightweight wheels, just trying to stretch the gap here. Skinner now goes at 4.2, 4.4. Kinloch answering with a 5.7, 5.5. Nothing to choose between these two riders. They continue to circulate their way around the climb. Now, it's not going to be long before they have one complete circumnavigation to go before they get up to the top. Remember though, that last section of the climb is the steepest section of the climb. It's the hardest part of the climb, and that is where it really will separate those people who've got the power at the end of the ride. The Donny Chaingang here on the Down in Cycling YouTube channel, brought to you by Full Speed Events. These riders are working well here today, and you can just see that Kinloch and Skinner riding nicely side by side here. They're playing nicely at the moment. Who is going to be mean? Who's going to put the kick in? Who's going to try and go clear? They have less than one full lap of the mountain to go now. Less than one lap of the mountain to go as they go up here. It's going to be one circuit to get themselves up to the top. They're up on the boardwalk, out on the side of the mountain. If we take a little bit of a look down, it's a long way down from the top here, and you can just see these two riders still side by side as they make their way up here. Kinloch on the left, it's going to be Skinner on the right hand side. PH Massa versus the Pro Noctis Heidi Kjartsen rider. Let's see how they're going. Kinloch again starts to push as they come in. Remember, once you get to the top, we have that warm down. Our riders now coming up to the really steep part. 5% the gradient here for Kinloch, who's still leading. Skinner responding, another 5 watts per kilo, 6 watts per kilo coming out from Skinner. Just goes back onto the wheel as well. Is she waiting for that last minute kick up to the summit? You can see as we come around that gradient, he's starting to kick back in again now. 2%, 3%, it's going to go all the way up to 13 on this section of the climb as you come up towards the top. And this is where Kinloch has to keep that pace up. She's got to keep Skinner off her heels. Skinner pushes back on again. Is Skinner going to have the power to go round her? Skinner now starting to work up the side here. Skinner at 6.5 watts per kilo puts in a dig here. Kinloch's responding. No, Kinloch's up at 5.5 watts per kilo. Skinner's dropped back down again here. The top is going to come really quick. You can just see it's just around this corner. If we take our camera around the side, you can see the arch. Skinner has got a second lead now on Kinloch just behind, and Skinner continues to push. Is it going to be another win for the Pro Noctis Heidi Kjartsen squad? I think it's going to be, because it is going to be Millie Skinner, the Down in Cycling coach rider, in that grey and green of the Down in Cycling kit, goes in and across, sets the time. The marker at 8.04, going to take the Volcano jersey straight off the power there. You can see just how much that hurt, 200 plus beats per minute. Kinloch comes across in second place, and 8.12 from Alison Kinloch. Good ride by Alison there, really taking the battle to them. Next is going to be Laura Lawson, who's going to come up to the top here. It's going to be Lawson coming in underneath the gantry here. Through she goes, and Lawson comes in with an 8.33. Immediately behind is going to be Catherine Adams. Adams on great form. Clearly all those that climb in the Lincoln Grand Prix work for her. Then Tracy Seeley coming through. So it's Skinner in 1, Kinloch 2, Lawson 3, Adams in 4. It's Tracy Seeley in 5. It's going to be our Red Beacon currently in 6th place today. So a 6th for Emma. So the first 6 riders through. Emma's time a fraction outside 9 minutes. Millie Skinner going up in 8.04. 2:04. Phenomenal climb time there. Next up is going to be Ruth Taylor. Taylor well on the way up. And if we take a little bit of a look back, you can see just how high we are from those lowlands that we were traversing through. Down at the bottom, you can see the bridge out to the left of our riders here. And Ruth Taylor doing a great job here. The gradient starts to ease off as she starts to make her way in through underneath the beacon. So Ruth Taylor comes through. It's going to be a 7th place for Ruth Taylor today. Just taking a little bit of a look back. Julie Braxton's going to be our next rider in through the finishing arch here. As you can see, the riders making their way round the loop and back down onto the descent here. So Julie Bratton making her way up here. So interesting that Alison Kinlock's first time up through there for a while, and not going to be in a hurry to go back to do it. It is a great climb because it is just tough. It's really fun. Good to see Millie Skinner going in there. Wow, great ride, and everybody loved the WOWDCG. Spread the love, get more riders, bring us the bodies. We'll make them all go quicker, believe me. The Chaingang works for everybody. Good to see Maz riding strongly again here on the Chaingang as Maz Heffron goes in and through. Quick drink for Maz, just goes around over the top. Remember, all of the riders have a warm down in there. Poppy Thompson comes up over the top. So Poppy comes up over the top of the section before dropping down. Good ride by Poppy from the Pro Noctis. Pro Noctis, of course, getting the win today. Sarah Hawkins, the next of our rider. You just see that gantry in the distance, and let's see how Sarah's spinning. Look at that, still got plenty of fire in the legs. Next through is Joanne Lee. Lee just making her way around the top of the Volcano as well. Rose coming through faster than we can get back. Chloe Gagan comes through. Gagan setting a new personal best up the climb there. Then it's going to be short going through, and quickly off those pedals. Some great times here behind. Then it's going to be Rourke, and you can just see just how close everybody is. So good to see Alison Gillen's going to be heading to Sunderland. If you are going to Sunderland, don't forget to come and see us. Wow, look at this. Great riding here by Steph Rock. So absolutely super smooth riding, keeping those revs up there, nicely moving away in and through. Faster tonight by everybody, and great riding by Steph coming in through the line there. Steph's time the 14th fastest up the climb tonight. You can just see the pace of the riders, the leaderboard on the left hand side. Next up is Emma Gilbert. Good to have Emma back on the gang again, and Emma Gilbert coming through just ahead of we're just going to have to be very careful here, actually, to be honest, because we've got riders going up and down the climb. We're going to jump into Gilbert. We've got to be get to where things get very entertaining indeed. So we're just going to go across to we've got Mary through the coming up towards the top of the climb, working our way up here. Just going to take a little bit of a run up the road. Looks like Emma Dooley working well just in front. Kaz nicely on her way up this climb. Sonia Inslee doing the same. Emma in and through the line. So Sonia now coming up onto the steeper section. And this is, you can see just how steep it is. Cass Tarry coming up on the hills here of Sonia. You can see just how far below that section of a glass bridge that we come in and through so many times. So this is where Kaz and Sonia now on this final section, the final push up onto the top. Come on, guys, big kick now. This is the last push in to the finish. Sonia getting the revs, getting the power. Kaz going to go for her here, though. You can see Kaz kicking up some about 4 watts per kilo. Sonia's just going to go up through at 4.4, 4.6. Then it's going to be Kaz Tarry immediately behind. Great climbing, guys. Well done. So we're going to take a little bit of a drop down. I think Emma Dooley, the next rider, just over one circuit, just getting to see the riders coming through. Behind her is going to be Barry White. Mary on a good climb here today with Dooley 44 seconds up the road. Just taking a little bit of a look back to see how the riders are going. So with Emma now onto the board, what we're going to see if we can bring in our yellow beacon, who hopefully is somewhere on the other end of the line. Emma, how are you doing? Have your legs even close to recovered yet?
Yeah, the downhill warm down is very appreciated.
The distance is just about right, is it?
Yep. Again, she nearly to the bottom of the climb.
Excellent. So lots of free points on the way down for the distance.
Yeah, and very easy to spin your legs out, which is what's required after that climb.
It looked brutal on there. I mean, that climb it's stepped, it gets steeper and steeper, and the last step is a real killer. It goes really, really, really harsh, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a really interesting climb because, like you say, it is stepped and you do get tiny micro recoveries on it, but the last section is the steepest, so it saves the kick till the end.
It does indeed, and just watching Mary White, Mary on her first Donny Chaingang on the WOWDCG, and she's chosen when you can see just how much height we climb when we take a little bit of a look down the side of the mountain. It'd be no good if you suffered from vertigo or didn't like heights, would it?
No, you don't want to be looking over the edge.
It's a long way down there.
It is when you look at it from that perspective, isn't it? That's an amazing shot watching Marie come up there. And what an effort to ride your first Swift group ride on the Donny Chaingang and to do such a great effort.
Yeah, doing an amazing job at the moment, and just to see out of the saddle, kicking down hard here and still keeping it nice and smooth on the way up here as she makes her way around. So good riding by Mary, currently sitting in there. We're just going to take a little bit of a run up the road to Emma Dooley again, keeping those revs high. Look at that, 93 revs per minute. That is super smooth, isn't it?
It's a great effort going up a climb like that.
And now on to the last grade. So it's going to be Emma Dooley. It's going to be our next finisher. Emma just can see the gantry in front. A really nasty kicker this at the end of the climb. Fortunately, it does ease fractionally just before we get in to the gantry in towards that finishing arch. Drops to 9%, then quickly peels away. Once you get past the junction, it starts to level off. And you can just see the archway coming up for Dooley. The next finisher here going to be a good time for Emma. The next of our riders in and through on the WOWDCG here on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. So Emma Dooley through inside that 12-minute marker, so a good time for Emma as well.
It is, and the top arch on that volcano climb comes quite late. You don't see it till you're nearly there.
Yeah, it does pay to ride this quite a lot. It's one of the reasons that we put it into the riders, because it's used regularly, not just on the DCG, but a lot of group rides as well. So it does, and races, so it is a good one to know, because this features in a lot of courses, this climb.
Yeah, it does. I've raced it before, and I can think of a race where they sent us up it 3 times, so you sure get used to it by the end.
Yeah, not the easiest of climbs, that is for sure, but we are now seeing Mary White coming on to this steep last section here. Got to keep those revs going. The gantry is just around the corner. If we see it from her perspective, she can't see the top. This is what Mary's going to see from her view as she's watching herself coming up. The good news is, if we take our sneaky drone camera out to the side, we can show her, here comes the gantry, here comes that finishing line. You just got to keep that power down as you come up and over. That 10% eases, and it is going to be Mary White, the next of our finishers on the Women's Only Wednesday on the Donny Chaingang, and a great ride by Mary. What a way, a baptism of fire. I'm not sure I want to do a DCG as my first group ride, or maybe I would, because it is so controlled.
Yeah, it is, and we do start off nice and steady, and the group does stay together, so it is a nice way to warm up before you put an effort in.
Yeah, I think I'll be putting an effort in just to stay with just as it's warming up, but there you go. So good riding by Mary White, just keeping the look back on our dynamic duo behind me, because Jane Robertson and Joe Jarvis are next 2 riders who are on the way up. Our Red Beacon doing an amazing job here as we watch them make their way in and around the volcano. I think they're going to be diving inside in a second. And it's very surreal, isn't it, when you ride it and you come into the volcano sections?
Yeah, it is. And when the lava's flowing, it's really quite good.
It's quite Tolkien-esque, but I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people like it. It is just that fantasy world. It takes your mind off the fact that you may be going uphill and working your way in and through, and you can just see the two of them over the bridge over the top of the lava, and you can see below the archway actually a whole layer down, a whole level down that is on the way through. And it shows you just how much you spiral over the top of yourself on this climb. Tough climb to finish, but of course the DCG having lots of different routes. We've got a real mix coming up. And don't forget, of course, we have 3 women's only Wednesdays on Donny Chaingang in December, at the very start of the month, the middle of the month, and at the very end of the month as well. So 3 Donny Chaingang for the women's only Wednesday on the Donny Chaingang, the WOWDCG in December, and hopefully we're going to see plenty of people. We're just starting to see the return of the pros who've just been having a few weeks off, coming back into the Chaingang, and good to see Joe doing a great job here as Red Beacon. It's a great experience, isn't it, doing the Red Beacon job? I know you've done that on the open Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, I love doing a Red Beacon ride. It's great fun being with the social banter and the back, and actually the groups that form with the Red Beacon are just as much fun as the groups that form with the yellow.
Yeah, I think they're more fun, to be fair, because the yellow
Well,
beacon is
that's
just
true.
going flat out at the end. Whereas, although the red beacons are absolutely giving it and they're working hard, generally you do find that people have sort of got that almost blitz spirit at the back, don't they? They just want to get to the finish, and that's key.
Yeah, and I often think people choose to ride with the Red Beacon as well as a bit of a social ride, rather than thinking, every time you come on the Donny Chaingang, you've got to give it your all and work really, really hard. You can also use it as a social ride and do what you want to do. And if you want to come and have a social ride at 2.5 watts a kilo, the option is there for you. You don't have to do an easy ride on your own or a ride at that level on your own. You can come and be part of a group of women on a Wednesday night where there's something for everyone.
And that's the aim of the Chaingang, always has been from the day one, basically. Give everybody something to look forward to, something to have a go at. Don't forget, of course, make sure that you join the Facebook pages if you're not on already. Make sure you tag us in if you get a new PB, if you get your fastest time on the glide, fastest time on the sprint, have a hard time. Want to show us just how badly the inside of your turbo trainer exploded. You name it, give us a shout. Make sure you tag us in on the Facebook pages of the Donny Chaingang. Our Red Beacon well up on to the climb at the moment, and you can see that drop down behind. We are going to let our yellow beacon go, grab some recovery done, get that done. Emma, anywhere people can get in touch with you, how can people say hi?
Yeah, you can find me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Anything to do with the Donny Chaingang on the Donny Chaingang Facebook page, you can tag me in, and I'm around, and I'm more than happy to answer questions on Messenger as well.
Definitely. So if people don't want to post it publicly, get in touch privately as well. And of course, I think you're racing this weekend, are you not?
Indeed, we are up in Sunderland for hopefully what might be a bit of a muddy National Series cyclocross race, but I'm not sure the weather is going to play well for us.
We'll see. I think I know you're probably hoping for a whole lot of mud, but we'll see whether it's quite as muddy as you're hoping. And don't forget, you can catch us with up there. If I'm not busy giving it big beans on the mic, come up and say hi, give us a wave, throw coffee at me, preferably in a cup. Don't forget, of course, Emma's up there as well all weekend. Make sure you come and say hi. Russ out and about on the bike, I think, this weekend. And, of course, Jimmy Allen is going to be in action tomorrow on the Chaingang, and the Open Donny Chaingang tomorrow going to be out there. Are you going to be riding around with the Red Beacon tomorrow, or are you going to have a quiet time away from the Chaingang, Em?
Oh, I've got a day off on my schedule tomorrow, and I think after last night and tonight, my legs need it.
Wow, day off, lucky you. I don't know, I'm most jealous, although I think that's only because the table's been turned on my ride out on the bike today. So we're going to let you go get some recovery done, and we're going to jump back in with our two riders now heading up towards the top of the climb. Thank you very much, Emma.
Good night.
So great to have Emma back with us just at the end of the ride there. Just jumping in with our beacon, just making her way up here. The red beacon, Joe Jarvis just got our rider behind there. That's Jane Roberts making the way up here. We make sure everybody gets in safely on the Donny Chaingang. That's how it works. So our riders on the way up, and less than one full lap of the Volcano. Remember, as it spirals in, that distance comes down as well. But this is where we get up onto the boardwalk. Remember, that last section is the steepest section up, that last kicker. Jane Roberts closing in on the wheel of Joe Jarvis. Joe just kicking hard here, trying to keep that pace nice and steady. Jane doing a great job here, keeping those revs high. Just see 84 revs per minute, nice and smooth, as Jane makes her way up this slope. The broken archway, an indicator as you're coming around that you've got basically about 3/4 of a lap to go. Always a nice, I always look out for that broken archway, that gap on the left hand side when I've climbed up here. You can just see these riders know that they are currently in those last sections of the climb, coming up towards the top of the mountain here, and steadily making the way up. Joe Jarvis up in front, that big drop out to the right hand side. Fortunately, the steering on Swift not allowing you to plummet off the edge lemming like. It is rather a long way down, and although bike riders will always ask you, is the bike all right, I'm not sure it would be if you were to drop down the right hand side here. So Jane Roberts and Joe Jarvis together, and as they come up here, our two riders, our red beacon along with our lamprey kitted Jane Roberts in action. Just see the boats down in the harbour, down in the bottom by the beach side there, a long way down to the base of the volcano. A lot of height climb on this last 3k, half of the climb on the ride during those last 3 kilometres. So smooth riding here, great to see. And the post starting to go up onto Facebook already. We're just with Jane and Gang down to the last third of the climb at the moment. So it looks like we've got the gang coming in. So it looks like Maz Heffron with a new FTP. Fantastic stuff to see. That is what we want to see. With new FTP coming from Maz. Tracy Seeley. Tracy, you only just got a new FTP yesterday. Tracy Seeley, another FTP again today. That is a phenomenal increase again. Fantastic to see 2 nights in a row. We'll see whether Tracy jumps back on again. The Donny Chaingang super fast really does make a difference. So many riders getting increases, riding with the Chaingang, a surefire way to get nice and quick, and to pick that pace up to improve. Seeing riders who've the only thing they've done different to their training schedules quite often is to ride the Chaingang, going out and improving, whether that's at cyclocross, on the road, on track sessions, or of course on Zwift in this virtual world. And the Chaingang, of course, coming to the Open Chaingang Tuesdays and Thursdays, so to everybody. Our women only Wednesdays every fortnight. We've got 3 coming up in December. Don't forget, of course, if you want to be in with a shout on the giveaways, we've got the OTE giveaway coming up next week. We've got 12 DCGs of Christmas, so treat yourself on the run-up to Christmas. Join the DCG gang. All the details on the Facebook pages of the Donny Chaingang, and we really do look forward to seeing people on both this and the Open Donny Chaingang. Our next Chaingang tomorrow on the Greater London Flat. No big volcanoes up at the end of that ride. So Joe Jarvis and Jane Roberts coming up to the top. Jane just starting to keep those legs spinning as she comes up over the top. Remember, they have the roll down to do to the banner to warm down, spin out those legs as Jane Roberts comes through. Well done, Jane. Great to see Jane coming in through the line. A sub 17-minute ride for Jane up the mountain. Amazing stuff. Well dug in there, going up that. Now the benefit of all that climbing comes the downhill, and one rider who certainly knows this, a rider who we've seen in action regularly on the Donny Chaingang. It is Joe Jarvis, our red beacon. So as our riders start to begin their warm down, the run down the mountain, don't forget, make sure you subscribe to the Down in Cycling YouTube channel. Make sure that you get onto the Facebook page. We're going to be back tomorrow. Jimmy Allen in charge of the Open Chaingang, and going to be in Greater London Flat, a staple, a real benchmark for the Open Chaingang. 3 laps of that circuit, getting quicker and quicker. The question is, at what point will it go? Man who knows, it's going to be the Sly Wolf himself, Jimmy Allen in charge. We'll be back after that on the following Tuesday. In between, lots of racing, lots of riding for everybody. So don't forget to give us a follow on Zwift, on Strava, on Facebook. From me, Matt Payne, from our yellow beacon tonight, Emma, from our red beacon, Joe Jarvis, from Russ, and all of the gang. Enjoy. Have a great evening. We'll hopefully see you again tomorrow for the next Donny Chaingang.